Hello, lovers of the world. This is Cinta speaking. I love putting my ethnomusicology degree to good use. I was never a huge fan of I.O.I when they were active. I'm actually a bigger fan of the groups that they eventually spawned into. I'm still a really big fan of Wuju Sonya. I like Wekimeki. I love Chongha and Somi. I even kept up with Pristin and Gugudan before they inevitably disbanded. But with I.O.I as a group themselves, I was never really a big fan of. I never really saw the appeal. All of this is to say that as a casual listener, even though I was never really a fan of their music, I was really intrigued by the Whatta Man music video. And I wanted to sit down and explore the reasons why. It's not because it explicitly said something grand or was groundbreaking in any particular sense of the word. I just thought it was a really interesting music video, and I wanted to at least make my case for why it still has stuck with me, even though it's been like 6+ years since they've disbanded. Before I get into this video essay though, I wanted to make my position very clear as a person who is examining this piece of media. So first of all, I'm not Korean. I've never been to Korea, and I don't understand the Korean language. I am merely a postgraduate student who is going through a bit of an existential crisis on my break from academia, and I'm trying to cope with this existential crisis by critically examining K-pop, which is something that I love. I'm a big K-pop fan. I've been a K-pop fan since 2015, and I'm not trying to establish myself as an authority on anything, nor am I trying to convince anyone of a particular ideology. I just wanted this video to be a fun exercise in critically examining the media that we are so used to seeing, I guess. With all of that said, I will be putting all the resources that I read in preparation for this video in the description, as well as flashing them on the screen whenever I mention. So with that out of the way, let's get into this video essay. Before we get into the actual analysis of the music video, I wanted to lay down some foundational concepts and ideas that I wanted to eventually touch back on when we analyze the actual music video itself. So the key things that I wanted to talk about are gender, socialization, and I guess beauty, and how that relates to women and gender expectations in general. It is no secret that society treats men and women differently. In her book, Mary Holmes defines gender as how people articulate and perform the levels of femininity and masculinity expected of them in their daily lives. While these gender norms are established and policed by others, masculinity and femininity are not intrinsic, and instead must be actively and strategically executed, even if individuals are conscious of doing it or not. The point of comparisons is to establish that gender is shaped differently by different social environments. This assists in understanding that differences between women and men are not simply a product of their biology. If biology determined women's and men's behavior, we would expect all women and all men to be more or less the same. Individuals learn gender through the process of socialization. Socialization is the process where individuals master how to act as a member of their society based on what is considered appropriate for their prescribed role. Such a process is important for the individual to digest and absorb gender displays as they learn what is appropriate gendered appearance and behavior for boys or girls. For example, women that make themselves more feminine by articulating it using visual cues and techniques like putting on makeup, fashion, and the body language. These gender expectations act as a script for individuals within a society to follow, like actors in a play that switch parts depending on the audience to gain different kinds of advantages. These displays are mostly nonverbal forms of behavior which structure and shape how people interact with us. Gender is a socially constructed concept, and so it stands to reason that gender displays in different societies differ depending on the culture that informs the gender scripts and processes of socialization. The sociological imagination is a way of understanding the world that sees individuals as a product of the social world in which they live. According to Holiday and Elfwing Huang, Neo-Confucian ethics provided the foundation of the rigid gender scripts that dominated traditional Korean society. Confucianism is concerned with human relationships, as seen how individuals have distinct duties related to their positions. Women were meant to be subservient to men and were required to be quiet and passive, With these in mind, Confucianism has been rightly criticized as not compatible with gender equality as it lacks the consideration of women's rights. As history marched on, Korean society transformed with the introduction of modernity and Western and democratic ideologies. For example, while initially women's bodies were not allowed in public spaces, the influence of Western ideas and industrialization pushed women out of the private domestic sphere and into public places when they eventually went on to work. All of this is to kind of provide a historical and cultural background on which I'm attempting to analyze the Whatta Man music video in regards to what they have to say about beauty and self-image and how that relates to your position in society. The makeover trope is a common occurrence in other media such as films and TV shows. It is to visually show that the person we see at the beginning is not the same person we see at the end, and is meant to symbolize personal growth. The legacy of the makeover trope has been heavily debated over and rightly criticized for its problematic messages. Lots of people have already dissected the implications of the makeover trope on women's bodies, self-image, and beauty standards. My video is not here to analyze the politics of the concept or the legacy of makeovers, as I feel that I'm not educated enough to do so, and many have done so much better. Instead, I wanted to analyze the makeover in I.O.I's music video as well as the makeovers in preceding girl group songs and what they have to say about gender performance, beauty, and how all of that reflects in changes in society. It is really interesting to compare I.O.I's makeover with the makeovers in other K-pop music videos. Unfortunately, I couldn't find other music videos whose narratives hinge on a makeover aside from these two, You Go Girl by Lee Hyo-ri and Like the First Time by Tiara. Their use of the makeover trope is different to each other, but you can see that these two music videos eventually went on to influence I.O.I's music video many years later. Since gender expectations is a constantly changing idea, it is bound to possess its own contradictions. For example, Confucianism had traditionally forbidden the alteration of the body as it disrespected one's ancestors and the body they had given you. But through rapid societal changes brought by modernity and industrialization, women's bodies were now up for scrutiny and observation. Due to the traditional expectations of physical image as crucial to femininity, being attractive was and still is strongly associated with the Korean feminine gender identity. Thus arose a tension in women's personal narratives regarding social mobility, which was further exacerbated with the rise in cosmetic surgery. Contemporary young Korean women are now hungry for a more active and independent life. We can see this in the music video for You Go Girl by Lee Hyo-ri, which was released in July 12, 2008, and was directed by Cha Eun-taek. You Go Girl is a feisty and sexy song about taking control of your own sexuality and giving women permission to want to be desirable. The music video makes it clear that Hyo-ri is the one who decides to change her appearance, and it brings her a lot of joy and self-confidence. While there is a male love interest, the music video spends more effort in showing that Hyo-ri's character is drawn to the advantages of social mobility. Of course, this makes sense considering that the song's lyrics are about encouraging women to do what they want to do and do what they want with their bodies. This song definitely tries to validate that desire for attention, saying it's okay to dress provocatively, and even if you feel shy or ugly, you have the power to change yourself and to elevate yourself in the eyes of others. This might be empowering to women who live in conservative societies, like South Korea in the early mid-2000s. That, of course, is a very generous and forgiving perspective of the music video, since there are certain elements of the video that haven't really aged well, like Hyo-ri goes to a cosmetic surgeon for her transformation. Cosmetic surgery and other alterations to physical appearances can be seen as women emerging as active agents deciding their own fates. This attention to conforming to beauty standards is recontextualized into Korean women taking steps to elevate their own status, be it in education, careers, or relationships. But at the same time, it's not really fair that so much of our relationships and livelihoods hinge on whether or not you live up to gender expectations and beauty standards. And so often, it is people who surround us, like our friends, who coerce us into participating in these gender rituals in the first place. Just as we are pressured to conform to gender norms, other people will feel the need to force other people to conform too. The idea that friendship could form the basis for management and surveillance emphasizes mutuality and an active role for the subjects of power. Power, then, need not be thought of as simply objectifying, intrusive, and imposing. In many circumstances, modern tactics of power operate by enticing subjects to participate in forms of self-surveillance. Subjects are drawn in to certain forms of behavior and thinking because their own concerns or interests are met. This can be seen in the music video that T-ara released in November 27, 2009, a year after I.O.I's own music video. The music video for Like the First Time was directed by Cho So-hyun. The music video's protagonist, Hyo-min, is first shown to be a slovenly, unkempt, nerdy girl lounging on the couch until her friends tell her that they've set her up on a date with a guy. The music video then moves on to show the girls getting her ready for her date, with each member of T-ara taking charge of one aspect of femininity to teach Hyo-min. This includes working out to be skinnier, putting on makeup, learning how to dress well, getting her hair done. In the end, Hyo-min transforms into a prettier woman, and she is rewarded for her transformation with a successful date. This music video, in comparison to Lee Hyo-hee's, seems like the makeover was less driven by achieving self-confidence and more about gaining the attention of a boy, which of course makes sense considering that the song lyrics are entirely romantic in nature. So I.O.I's journey is a bit of a strange one if you're not really into K-pop. Created through the survival show called Produce 101 in 2016, I.O.I was a South Korean idol girl group that consisted of 11 members. As per the design of their contract, the group only lasted less than a year, disbanding sometime in 2017, with the members eventually having gone their separate ways since then. Their success had launched a series of other groups with a similar premise like I.O.I, 101, Kepler, other groups, but that's the gist of it. To keep it short, Whatta Man is a subunit song that featured only 7 of its 11 members due to scheduling conflicts within the group. The song Whatta Man samples from the 1968 song Whatta Man by Linda Lendl and was produced by the following people. The music video was directed by Hong Won-ki. Whatta Man was a huge success at its release. It was the second most viewed video in the United States and the third most viewed video worldwide at the month it was released. This song would go on to win 5 music shows during their promotional cycle. Now, Whatta Man by I.O.I is admittedly not even one of the most popular K-pop songs in the last decade. At the time of its release, it made an impact for sure, but has since been overshadowed by larger players in the music scene. I do not hold this music video or I.O.I as representative of the gender ideologies at play within K-pop currently, nor even at the height of its popularity in 2016. What I had focused on in my own analysis of this music video was on the 2 characters played by the members Yoo-jung and So-hee. Yoo-jung is considered the protagonist because the narrative focuses on her growth. The story presents her as experiencing relationship troubles when her boyfriend ignores her. When her friends, the rest of the I.O.I girls, notice, they take her under their wing to teach her how to do a myriad of things. How to dress well, how to put makeup on, how to exhibit correct body language, etc. So-hee initially starts off not being part of the friend circle and is shown watching Yoo-jung being taught how to act. In the following scenes, we see Yoo-jung teaching So-hee what her friends had taught her. When the rest of the I.O.I girls enter, they are ecstatic to find Yoo-jung and So-hee's lesson and praise Yoo-jung as the student has become the master. The music video concludes with the I.O.I girls confronting Yoo-jung's presumably ex-boyfriend to show off her achievements before dismissing him as revenge. Throughout the music video, this narrative is spliced frequently with scenes that display the I.O.I girls dancing sexily, with shots of individual members acting sexily too. These dance scenes and individual member shots exist separate to the story in the video. Like I mentioned earlier, we can see that Lee Hyo-ri and T-ara's music videos influenced I.O.I's, but I argue that I.O.I goes on to say something slightly more nuanced than both its predecessors. All 3 music videos have a male love interest, which propel the story forward. In this way, all stories are operating within a heteronormative framework. However, each story deals with it in a different way. Hyo-ri's music video frames it as a source of self-fulfillment. T-ara's frames it as a cookie-cutter romance. Both music videos stay true to the lyrics of the song they're trying to promote. However, I.O.I's music video does not. Whatta Man is a passionate and dynamic song about being infatuated with a man and delighting in finding a catch like him. We assume that the music video will take the same route as T-ara's, but instead the music video paints the male love interest as a terrible boyfriend and undeserving of Yoo-jung. You could make the argument that this subversion enhances the persona of the girls as empowered, femme fatale girl bosses who don't need a man. Such a persona certainly matches the energy found in the song itself, with these explosive high notes and thunderous instrumentation. All three music videos feature a protagonist who is not conforming enough to traditional standards for women and attempt to better themselves through their makeovers. We can see this from Yoo-jung's journey, where because she is not performing a level of femininity that her male love interest requires of her, she is ignored and snubbed, and it is only through her transformation that she is treated as desirable and seen as desirable, not just by the male love interest, but we as the audience. In both Hyori and Tiara's cases, their failure to conform is symbolized by their lack of a boyfriend, so their journey is characterized by gaining one. Yoo-jung already had a boyfriend, but it is her inability to keep him that signals a change is needed. However, the music video does not explicitly demonize her for losing him, as the audience understands that he is not a good boyfriend. He becomes collateral damage for her metamorphosis. This makeover scene is the first one I've seen where the success is not just strictly about the validation of the male love interest. It's part of the narrative, yes, but it's at the end, as if it's an afterthought. The real point where the music video says that Yoo-jung has truly transformed is when she teaches somebody else. The music video for Whatta Man uses a fictional narrative to represent how gender and sexuality is learned within the story. First, it shows that gender revolves around appearing a certain way, so others will know how to treat you. We can see that in a way that Yoo-jung and So-hee are being punished for not being feminine enough. The Yoo-jung we met in the beginning, before the I.O.I girls taught her, is implied to be lacking and therefore needs to be educated. We see that Yoo-jung, after being taught the mechanics of being a successful feminine girl, eventually goes on to teach a different girl who was in the same position as she was. The music video positions the success of femininity as knowledge and practices that can be taught and learned. In this case, it is Yoo-jung's social connections that shape her new life, and she can pass that information down to another girl. The music video normalizes and reproduces these gender and heteronormative troubles. It frames overcoming them by playing into the rules of the patriarchal game as a triumph, rather than attempting to dismantle the system in the first place when it was the system that was the problem in the first place. The protagonists are portrayed positively when they participate in these rituals and are implied to be rewarded with the promise of strong friendships and social status. Thus, the music video emphasizes that it is aspirational to participate in this social interaction. And even if it's not aspirational, it is definitely necessary for survival. We can insinuate that Yoo-jung's transformation reflects contemporary Korean women's attempt at using the parameters of their gender expectations to gain advantages in life. However, while such practices can be seen as voluntary, how much of that is really voluntary when the repercussions of not following or participating in these rituals can affect your livelihood or even your social connections or social standing in life? As in Yoo-jung and So-hee's case, the repercussions of not adhering to their gender status quo could have resulted in loneliness and isolation. The audience will never really know because the music video shows them following the script successfully. The music video, in a way, presents a script within a script. While the I.O.I girls seemingly exhibit and present assertive versions of femininity in the music video, it is still a performance within the narrative. At the same time, I.O.I's performances, both in the music video's narrative and outside of it, are not just displays of gender, but actually also attempts at achieving power. The I.O.I girls walk off screen tall and proud, asserting their dominance and having reached the full potential of their desirability. But at the same time, they're establishing themselves to the viewers that they are people that we can aspire to, that we can love, that we can devote our time and money to. Of course, a more critical perspective on it is that none of these videos really matter because these are all just commercial products that the music industry pumps out, so consumers are hooked onto spending more money on the artists. Entertainment companies are just going to churn out whatever crap they think is going to get the K-pop stans to buy their faves merch. If the trendy concept is powerful, sexy girl boss, then of course the company is going to stick to that image and the aesthetic and promote that so that they can earn the most money. But I feel that that is too simplistic of an explanation when considering this music video. It also undermines the careful and intentional deliberation over the construction of such a piece of media. Like, just because it's a music video for a pop song doesn't mean that it can't say something or represent something or reflect something a little bit more complicated. And I think it completely ignores how much the song or the music video actually can mean to the fans and even to the artist. Whatta Man's music video is the only one where the visual text explicitly states that men are not as important as your own self-fulfillment and places female friendships over male validation. And I like that. I like that our media has slowly reflected these changes made in society over time. I think it does say a lot that we as a society, I guess, or pop culture or mainstream culture has moved away from the makeover trope. We don't see it as often in K-pop music videos these days. And I like to think that this music video is a good way to send off that we don't need the makeover trope as much as we did in the past. Not to say that we needed it back then, as the implications of the makeover trope can be a bit misleading and problematic on their own. But I think people have realized that makeover tropes are just not necessary for the kinds of media that we are now currently seeking. The stories that we want to see are different now that we've kind of undergone different societal changes, historical events. While writing this video, I was trying so hard to remember if there were other K-pop music videos which had a makeover scene, like in Whatta Man or You Go Girl or like The First Time, and I just couldn't think of others. I know I will look like a huge idiot if I upload this video and somebody comments, "Oh, you forgot about this one." But I really do think that this was the last time a K-pop music video featured a makeover, at least in this point in time that I'm uploading this video. So we can kind of think of this video's title, what I.O.I's Whatta Man Left Behind really means. I'm referring to both the legacy of their music and the fact that K-pop really has left behind the makeover trope. And I like to think of this music video as a really good way to send off the makeover trope. Like, we don't need it anymore. And this music video was a good way to end things on a good note, you know? All of this is to say that while I don't think that the music video for Whatta Man is particularly groundbreaking or innovative or saying something completely and utterly new, I think it still reflects a very specific change in the K-pop that we see that deserves to be talked about and explored still. Even though that I.O.I is gone and the members have gone their separate ways, the music video is still there, and so is the legacy of I.O.I. If you did manage to get through the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to make a stronger effort to produce more K-pop centric video essays on my channel alongside more music reviews this year. And if that's something that you're interested in, please feel free to subscribe. In the meantime, I would like to recommend the two other video essays that I've made in the past. Well, the first one is ITZY's Dala Dala Through Critical Theory, which is an exploration of ITZY's role as a girl crush girl group and what their music represents to their fans. And another video essay of mine is called K-pop Fans and Their Different Modes of Engagement, which is where I explore different practices and activities that fans do within the K-pop community. These are pretty old, but I'm still really proud of them. I really want to make more video essays, but they are so difficult to make. But yeah, if you want to support my work, my Patreon page and my Ko-fi page are linked in the description alongside my other social media links. And like I said, the references that I used to make this analysis. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you'll see more of me soon. See you later! Who was disbanding sometime in early 7. Their success launched Whatta Man as a song. The song Whatta Man